In the early 1800s, families were told something comforting. They were told that asylums were places of rest, places of care, places of science. They were told their loved ones would be safe, that the chaos of the outside world would be replaced with routine, that suffering would be treated with calm, that madness could be soothed. And for a brief moment, that was almost true. But what families didn't realize was that once someone entered an asylum, they often didn't come back. Not healed, not cured, not even remembered. They disappeared. Before asylums existed, there was no system at all. People with mental illness were kept at home if families could manage. If they couldn't, those people were locked in jails, chained in basements, or left on the streets. Cities were growing fast. Industrialization packed people together. Poverty, disease, grief, and trauma were everywhere. Something had to be done. Reformers believed they had the answer. They believed mental illness could be treated with order, with structure, with light, with fresh air, with routine. This approach was called moral treatment. Early asylums were designed to look peaceful. Large windows, open grounds, walking paths, gardens. Doctors believed chaos caused madness, and order could cure it. At first, some patients did improve. Some rested, some returned home. For a short time, the asylum looked like progress. Then the doors kept opening. As cities expanded, asylums became convenient. Too sad, too anxious, too angry, too quiet, too loud, too different. Send them away. People were committed for depression, anxiety, epilepsy, postpartum symptoms, alcoholism, grief, dementia, poverty, or simply being considered unmanageable. Women could be committed by husbands, children by parents, workers by employers. There was no trial, no standard diagnosis, no timeline for release. Once inside, freedom depended entirely on doctors who were already overwhelmed. Facilities built for hundreds now held thousands. One doctor for entire wards, one nurse for hundreds of patients. Beds disappeared. Patients slept on floors. Hygiene collapsed. Violence became routine. What began as treatment became storage. Daily life inside an asylum was slow and controlled. Patients woke when told, ate when told, worked when told. Silence was enforced. Talking too much was a problem. Talking too little was also a problem. Those who complied were left alone. Those who didn't were restrained. Restraints were not rare. They were normal. Straps, locked chairs. Isolation rooms. Not always used as punishment, but as convenience. The goal was not recovery. The goal was quiet. As overcrowding worsened, doctors grew desperate. They still believed mental illness could be fixed. They just didn't know how. So they experimented. Ice baths were used to shock the mind into clarity. Patients were submerged until they stopped resisting. Insulin shock therapy induced repeated comas. Early electroshock treatments were administered without anesthesia or consent. Then came the lobotomy. It was marketed as a miracle, a quick procedure, minimal equipment. Doctors claimed it calmed patients, reduced aggression, and made people manageable. And it did. Patients became quiet, passive, childlike. Families were told this was success. But healing was never the goal. Control was. Most patients never left. Records were poorly kept. Names were misspelled or lost. Files were destroyed. When patients died, they were buried in unmarked graves. No funerals, no headstones, no notification. Entire cemeteries still sit behind former asylums today, filled with numbers instead of names. Many patients were never mentally ill. Some were misunderstood. Some were inconvenient. Some were children. The asylum did not just treat illness, it erased people. The asylum era did not collapse overnight. It ended slowly. Journalists exposed conditions, former patients spoke, photographs leaked, public trust eroded. By the mid-20th century, large institutions began to close. Patients were released, often without support. Mental health care shifted imperfectly into the community. New problems replaced old ones. But one truth became clear. The asylum era did not end because society became kinder. It ended because the walls could no longer hide what was inside, and the people who vanished there deserve to be remembered.
History is stranger than you think. From forgotten battles to bizarre inventions, we uncover the stories that make you say, "What the history?"